by.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live.
Wow, look at this. She's been evading us over the past few drives. We've had her tracks. We've been spending so much time searching for her. And finally, we got her. This is Karula. Welcome on board this live safari. And you don't get off to a much better start than this. Phew. Okay. My name is Scott, everyone. I'm teamed up with Wium on camera. And it's great to have you with us. It's very thick here. I've called Brent into the area. He's also out with us this morning. And he's going to come in just to make sure we don't lose her in this very thick bush. We are close to the Galago waterhole. So very close to the Juma camps called Vuyatela and Galago. And we were actually making our way to the hyena den. When we bumped into her, she was literally walking down the road straight towards us. But it was on a hairpin bend, and she just veered directly off that road as we found her, so timing was hugely on our side. Whew, my heart is racing. It's so exciting. We lost her initially. Oh, what is she sniffing? I think that might even be a small stalk. There may be a bird or something in there. No, but you can see she's sniffing around very, very intently. Brent's just got a hold of me on the radio, and I just need to respond to him quickly, so give me a moment. Copy that, Brent. Good luck. Shame, poor old Brent and Andrew appear to be having some technical difficulties. Look at this. These kinds of shots when you get to see one of the most stealthiest of the big cats moving through thick bush. And you get a good idea how they can disappear just like ghosts into their surroundings. Now, speaking of disappearing like ghosts, because Brent does have some tech issues, he needs to try and get that sorted. Therefore, we are alone with her, and we do not want to let her disappear like a ghost, like I've just said. So, bear with me as I try my best to concentrate with her. To concentrate as we try and follow her. There's not enough of a gap there. But having spent so much time following these animals with Wium over the past year, we've become a great team, and Wium knows exactly what he needs to do while I'm focusing on off-roading, and he's constantly keeping an eye on her and also giving me very useful updates as to where she is in relation to the bonnet of the vehicle, or the hood of the vehicle. So that helps greatly, and that's why we don't have too much to worry about. Here she goes. Wow, so happy to hear that all of you guys are so happy. That makes one very happy safari vehicle with hundreds, possibly thousands of people all joining in together. And if this is your first time, please let us know. And if it's not your first time and you've been a long time viewer, maybe you should phone a friend and tell them to log on and join us, because this would be a great time to showcase SafariLIVE to some more people. And I'm even thinking about getting my phone out and phoning my friends, although here in South Africa it's still very early in the morning, 5 a.m. and I think most of my friends will still be fast asleep. But you guys in different time zones, go on. We should be sharing this with as many people as possible. And as it becomes more light with the slowly rising sun, we are getting some wonderful views of her. You can see she's very, very focused this morning. She's using her nose predominantly in this thick bush, which you can notice she's sniffing, nose to the ground, nose in bushes. Possibly she can smell some prey. or possibly she can smell another leopard. Or both. Now, as I off-road, please understand that I know which trees can kind of tolerate a little bit of bullying. And most of these trees are very flexible and will just pop directly back up. Where did she go, Wium? I was... So she's been following, we lost her in that little blue dotted line, but she's been heading in a westerly direction, so she's probably going to pop out on Gallagher shortcut. So that's where I'm going to loop around to quickly. Sounds like Brent may be back up and running. Go ahead, Brent. He's just got a hold of me on the radio. Brent, I lost her in the small drainage heading west up to Gallagher shortcut. There, I'm also just going to head up to Gallagher shortcut. We can go snoop around there. Yeah, boy. That's the one. Okay, so wonderful news. Brent is back up and running, and he's not too far away from here. Like I say, we are close to camp, and I hope showing you that map gave you a little bit more of an idea of where we were in relation to the closest road, and also at least now you've also got an idea of which direction she was moving in, which was a westerly direction. Obviously she could change direction depending on what she comes across. We're going to send you across to Brent quickly, and we'll probably see you on the road just up ahead in just a few minutes. But over to Brent, and we'll see you later.
Good morning and welcome to SafariLIVE. What a bang of a start. Karula is around. I know Scotty's lost her, but Andrew, who's my cameraman today, and myself, Brent Smith, are on our way to give him a hand. Hopefully we're going to be able to find her. It is always great to start with the leopard, and it's us lots very, very excited. And she's been literally, where Scotty found her, is probably about 100 meters from our camp. She's probably been cackling at us for the last day or two. So we're now in the area to give Scotty a hand, and it is a particularly difficult drainage line where Scotty lost her, and we've lost many a leopard in that particular area. So hopefully she pops out onto this road. I can see Scotty's lights in the bush off to the right there. A really exciting start to the morning, and a big welcome to Meredith and Corey. Corey is Meredith's boyfriend. He's watching for the first time, and they're in Victoria in Canada. So I'm quite sure they're used to seeing polar bears as opposed to lions and leopards. Hopefully, Corey, we can show you a leopard this morning. And Meredith, a big thank you for inviting Corey to join us on these live African safaris. Corey, if you're wondering about what we're doing and you'd like to ask us a question or two, you can do that by dropping us an email, questions@wildearth.tv, or if you're a little bit more technologically savvy, you can use the hashtag SafariLIVE on Twitter. So Scotty's in there, so he lost her somewhere in this area here. So he's gonna
we were following her along
go
the
very, very quiet.
This little drainage, and then she dropped down into it, so she's tended to be heading north and west.
Okay, so Scotty's here. We're gonna head into the bottom. There's a duiker. That is not what we're looking for. We're not looking for a little antelope, but rather a member of the big five. Andrew, I hope your eyes are sharp today. So James said someone had referring to my excitement, and Sleepy One said Brent is bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Well, I guarantee you it's nothing to do with coffee. It's all to do with having a big cat in close proximity. So what we're going to do is we're going to sit here and we're going to listen quietly for a second or two, because leopards often will give away their position, or not on purpose, by a little bird, like a rattling testicular. They'll walk past them and they'll start going psh, 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 psh. So we're just going to listen quickly. And a quick update on the other big cats while we're listening. I did hear lions at about 4:05 this morning. Unfortunately, they were very far to the east and sounded well east of our eastern boundary. Unfortunately, the only thing I'm hearing at the moment is Andrew's breathing. So it seems like Angie in Ohio also heard lions at about 2:30 this morning. Angie, I was in bed. I didn't hear those ones. I only heard the ones at about 4:05. But more than likely the same lions. And there are two different sets of lions around at the moment. I think the ones I heard were the Birminghams, and they were to the east. And I heard over the radio that one of the Birmingham males is mating with Styx lionesses again. I'm not sure which Styx lioness, but that's well to the east of us. And then in the north, in Buffelshoek, there's the Salati males and the Talamati pride. I didn't hear them. I know they probably about as far as you can get from us in Buffelshoek, in the northeastern corner on the boundary of the Manuletti and Kruger with the Sabi Sands. And Kachina John is wondering any updates on the boomers. I wish there were. I have no idea where they are or what they're up to. I think just before Andrew and I went on leave on the 1st of January, just before that there was an update that they were on in Coral and were mating with the Birmingham males. But since then, I haven't heard anything, and I don't think Scott and Jamie have either. So just in case she decides to be really sneaky, I can see Scott's now moved off out of the bush onto the road, and so he can cover that section. And there's an old sightings road that we're traveling on now, where the lions had a kill many moons ago, and we're going to just see, maybe check that she didn't cut more north through the drainage line. Andrew, I hope your eyes are working. Oh dear. Well, some of the strong wind has made the sightings road very short. You can see there's a marula tree that's fallen off it, and from there I'm pretty sure we can find a way around, and also closer to the little creek bed or drainage line that she went into.
Isn't this exciting? The thrill of the chase. Now, I can also hear some Franklin, crested Franklin, that are alarm calling in the bush up ahead of us, somewhere in there. As you can see, it's incredibly thick. And sometimes it's just good to stop and listen for a moment, just to see if we can't gather any more information from Mother Nature. And James Francis, you have just admitted to the terrible disease of FOMO, which is the fear of missing out, thanks to SafariLIVE. And you're right, James. I'm told, I wasn't watching, but I think you might be able to see Brent moving through the thick bush up ahead of us here. Go ahead, Brent. And he's just giving me an update as to where he can hear that Franklin is. And Copy that. I think I've got it as well. I'm just at the old hyena den now. I'm going to get back onto Gallagher shortcuts. Apologies to Diker. And there's the other one. 2 males. Interesting. It could be a son. Or it could be 2 males fighting with one another. I'm not too sure. And Paul, you just made a comment saying that we aren't looking for little antelope today, more the animals that eat them. And yes, that was the case, but now we've reversed. We reverse psychology. We're hoping that if we stay with the prey, the predator will come to them. I'm just going to show you where we are in relation to where we were. So, where I've dropped that pin is where we were. And she was in this little riverbed that you can see with this blue dotted line. So we lost her basically where the crosshairs are. And she could have followed this drainage, but that's where Brent was initially waiting, where you joined him. And now we've turned onto this road up here. So we've driven up and turned onto this road, and we're waiting just about here somewhere. So she could be anywhere in this general area, let's hope. Brent's trying to get a hold of me again. Go ahead, Brent. Okay, copy. I'm on Gallagher shortcuts. Should I just stay at that junction with Gallagher shortcuts? Okay, copy. Very good. Okay. Apologies for that. Quite complicated giving and receiving directions in this area, but Brent says he has got tracks of her. He's down to our right in this bush, and he says she is heading up towards this road that we are on. So she appears to have veered more north. And this road will bend more in a northerly direction. You can see we're driving straight towards the sun now, so we're heading east. And where this road kinks more to the north is the area where Brent says those tracks are heading. So things are still looking good, guys. We've still got a chance, and well done to Brent for finding those tracks. How on earth he did that, I don't know, but well done.
So Queen Karula, up to her normal shenanigans. We have tracks of her going through one of these little creek beds or drainage systems. Makes it incredibly difficult to stick with her, but hopefully between Scotty and myself we can guess where she's going to come out from her tracks. Hopefully it's somewhere on this little road here, which is the second shortcut with Gallagher shortcut, which can become very confusing. And Scotty is heading from the boundary towards us, and we're heading from Gallagher. Just heard some Franklin going absolutely nuts. And I don't know if you heard that. That's often a good sign that there's a predator on the ground. They came out of here, which would mean instead of crossing straight across that little creek bed like we thought, she maybe has moved up it. Where is Karula? There's Franklin exploded out of the bush here. Now, sometimes they'll explode with leopards, maybe even 15, 20 meters away, just in case it pounces on them. So what we're looking for at the moment is that little white spot, the back end of her tail, any little bit of movement. Obviously that white stands out against the bush, so it's one of the ways we spot animals. So your eyes are muscle like any other muscle in your body. The more you train them, the better you get at using them. So anything that slightly doesn't fit, or a slight bit of color, that's what we're looking for. Okay, let's move a little bit further forward. I mean, we know she's here. It's just a matter of finding out exactly where. So Carla, a very good morning to you, Carla, who's in Vermont. Carla's wondering, do any of these animals have tracking tags or tracking collars? Carla, we like to do it the old-fashioned way, good hard work, sweat and tears. So none of them do. So when we talk about tracking an animal, we actually talk about following its footprints and finding it the old-fashioned way. And fortunately, in the Sabi Sands, most of the tracking is done like that. We don't need to have a tracking. Oh, we can hear Scott laughing at something. I'm sure Wium is being a comedian. Wium can be very, very funny when he wants to be. So you heard that very loud laugh from Scotty. He's about to join us. He should be with us in a couple of minutes, but sorry, Carla. So there's so many, not so many vehicles, but the vehicles here drive around and all of us can track on foot. There's no need for a sort of a tracking collar. Obviously with Karula, sometimes it feels like there is a need, but that would take half the fun away from being in the bush, not being able to track on foot. And here comes Scotty and Wium. I'm quite interested to hear whatever the joke was that got Scotty laughing so much. We could hear him coming from a mile away. Look at that big smile on his face. Wium, what did you say?
What? Joke?
Yes.
Oh no, that was Nicky.
We heard a funny comment through from John.
Ah.
John said, little play on words, that Karula has pieced off. And that's exactly what she's done, John, as normal. Brent, there were two duiker meandering through this little area, so...
We just had two crested francolin burst out from about 50 meters in here and fly off screaming.
Okay,
so,
well, hopefully she's stalking those duiker.
She's definitely here, and as Karula does, she likes... I'm convinced Karula has got magic shoes with little wings on them that enable her to fly over roads where we can't see her tracks.
By wings, you mean her flabby belly?
Yes, possibly.
That she turns into a possum suit, like a flying squirrel.
Exactly. She glides across the roads.
Andrew just wagged his finger at me, mentioning clearly that I'll get in trouble if I say nasty things about Karula, but she's being nasty, so we're just giving her back a bit of her own medicine.
And it's quite interesting, like Karula, as she gets older, that flabby belly Scotty's talking about will get more and more pronounced. And I know a lot of you always wonder about, is she pregnant? Is she going to have cubs? And with older leopards, I mean, she is going to turn 12 this year. It's near impossible for us to discern whether she's pregnant or got cubs till she actually has the cubs and we start seeing suckle marks around her teeth. So maybe she's pregnant, maybe she's not. we have no idea till she actually gives birth. And that's very common in a lot of older leopards, that you're not able to actually see that pregnancy because of her previous litters. That belly becomes more and more flabby. So what's your plan?
I was just going to ask you.
Should we swap sides?
Yeah, let's swap.
Let's swap. There you go. So basically we are doubling our chances. Scotty's going to go back where I've come from, and I'm going to go back where Scotty's come from. So good luck.
Good luck. See you later.
And in that way, we're doubling our chances. And one must remember, finding animals is a team game. And the more eyes, or almost boots on the ground, or tires on the track, so to speak, we have, the greater chance we have of finding that animal. It also helps that our cameramen are really great at spotting, and they're in a really good position because they're probably about half a meter, actually probably even a full meter higher than us, and that enables them to look down into the bush, which is very beneficial for us. So we've got a question that really ties into what Scott and I were just discussing, and the question is from the land of the long white cloud, and that is New Zealand. For those of you who are not sure, I just have to say about the Rugby World Cup. Don't want to talk about that. It's still very sore. My poor iPhone took quite a beating when we lost to New Zealand. I forgot it on my lap and I jumped up and smashed the screen. But Roseanne, who's in the land of the long white cloud, says, is it possible that she's got cubs? And as I was just explaining, Roseanne, it's near impossible for us to tell unless we start seeing those suckle marks. And we have seen her recently, and I haven't seen any suckle marks on her, so it's unlikely that she's got cubs at the moment. We've got a little, oh, of course everything takes off when you say there it is, but when you get through the gap there's the fork-tailed drongo. Keep the birders happy, and I don't know if you've come to the right a bit there, Andrew. I don't know. Oh no, they're flying, don't worry. But there's a flock of arrow-marked babblers as well. It's quite an interesting call. I don't know if you guys can hear that in the background. So that sounds to me like a fork-tailed drongo imitating very badly, which is quite unusual because they're normally very good mimics of other bird calls. It sounds like the fork-tailed drongo mimicking a barred owlet. There's the culprit up in the tree. Oh no, of course it's flown away. So we're going to just go a little bit further forward. Sorry about that, I just was listening to Scotty. He's gone back towards the north just in case she's managed to slip between us. So we're gonna just, I don't know, with me, a lot of my tracking of leopards and lions and stuff like that, I mean, you can have the tracks and it's perfectly wonderful and you follow the track. But for me, a lot of it, I like to go on my gut. And fortunately, either I'm quite lucky or my gut's got quite a good sense of where things pop out. And you can hear that, which is that, to me, sounds like a fork-tailed drongo mimicking a barred owl. On Twitter, it says, I'm glad to see no one's on Rusty. She's quite happy that we're on more reliable vehicles. We actually are on Rusty at the moment. The major difference is that the high lift jack there, which was bright red, I attacked it with a can of spray paint yesterday, and so we are on Rusty, not Wendy. It's just that the jack has been spray painted. I think I did a fantastic job. I don't know what you think, but maybe if SafariLIVE doesn't work out, I can get a job spray painting cars.
A graffiti artist.
A graffiti artist. There we go. Scott's back, and he's done another loop around. We've just heard Franklin Alarm calling again.
You should actually jump across onto our vehicle and look at how many spots Brent missed from.
Hey, it's first layer. I'm going to do another layer.
Poor craftsmanship.
Yes. Okay, so next time you can spray paint it. There's no appreciation.
And there we go. Look at this. I mean, there's just little red blotches everywhere. But, I mean, I guess in your defense, Brent, you did achieve what you set out to achieve. And there we go. Give us a big smile there. You looking very smart this morning, Brent.
I think it's the new year.
All dressed up for no Karula.
There we go.
Yes, Wium is the king of doing this. She's just popped out.
So,
Well done, Wium. And you are the master at spotting animals when in a sighting, Brent. You've chosen a great spot to stop and discuss things. Well done for that.
as
I was about to tell you to get out the way because I wanted to continue.
So Andrew and I were discussing when we heard those Franklin alarm calling, whether
I'm not sure whose vehicle you got a better view on. Oh, there we go, we've got her again, but maybe, yeah. Brent's about to reverse off and get into a better spot. And she is heading right towards the road, and Brent's kind of just gonna loop across and shortly should have a good view, and I think now would be a good time to jump onto his vehicle.
Yeah, so I'm going to get Andrew to show you that white tip of the tail that we were talking about. How's that, Andrew? That's good. So when she turns to the side, I'm going to ask Andrew to stay a little bit wide, and you can see that white tip of the tail. And when she's walking parallel in the bush, that is the really sort of distinguishing thing, because there's not many things that are white in the bush. There we go. For the new viewers, this is Queen Karula, our dominant female leopard and resident trickster when it comes to tracks. And as we were just saying, it's tracking animals is a team effort. And there we go. She's going to pass that. Literally, she's probably closing in now. She's about 6 feet from the vehicle. She's going to cross right behind us, and she'll probably end up being no less than about 3 feet from Andrew. There we go. She's just scent marking on that marula tree as she goes past. There we go. So she's moving down the road behind us. So I'm going to move forward and pass it along to Scotty, who's in a much better position to follow her. And I think we'll tag team her. It's not often we get to share a sighting, because often there are other vehicles that need to get in so the guests can see. There we go. Thank you. Nice view.
Well, isn't this awesome? And like Brent says, such a pleasure to be sharing this wonderful sighting with them now. And like I said earlier, great planning and foresight from Brent, and reading into the bush, listening to those sounds. And if it wasn't for those sounds that he heard, he wouldn't have waited there. So great work on his behalf. To be honest, I was in a bit of a flat spin in Ferrari Safari mode, trying to cover as much ground as possible. But great teamwork. And to all of you who may have received phone calls from other SafariLIVE viewers and joined the show, it's a huge pleasure to have you with us. And thank you for those phone calls that were made. And at least we managed to redeem ourselves and find this leopard. Sure. Isn't it remarkable how they can dissolve so quickly into the bush? Although I'm going to start the car because I'm not going to let her get too far before she shakes us off her tail again. Oh, this is going to be beautiful. Look at this. Absolutely awesome. And a leopard up on a termite mound is one of the best places you can find them. And they really enjoy being up there. It's a good vantage point. And aren't we so lucky to be enjoying the beautiful Karula once again. Now I'm being nice to her now that we found her. You'll notice how fickle I am and how quickly I change tune. Well, Sharon Stewart, I'm happy to hear your sequence of comments that were made, and like I said, there's a lot of luck involved, but like I said, Brent's maneuvers were skillful ones this morning. And again, well done to him for listening to the bush and literally predicting where she was going to pop out. And you got to bank those moments out here, and thankfully we're all involved to appreciate this wonderful sight. So I'm just going to move forward so that Brent can sneak past us, and he will then be able to get ready to receive her and get into a good spot for your next views of her. Isn't this wonderful now with the sunlight bathing her coat? Wonderful stuff. Well, what we're probably going to do is loop ahead. We're not too far from Gallagher Shortcut, which is another road that we've driven around already 3 times, and I hope that we'll find her this morning. And we'll probably leave Brent to off-road with her. But it's tricky going in there. It's quite thick, but you're about to jump onto his vehicle and you'll see exactly what he has to deal with negotiating with this off-roading.
So isn't that absolutely amazing? As I've just been saying, often keeping up with these animals and tracking these animals is a team game. She's moving opposite us at the moment. I'm just going to stop up ahead here and look at that. Queen Karula, sun rising behind her, a backlit beauty. So I was right next to Scott when he mentioned Sharon's comment. Sharon, you have little faith. Hopefully you'll trust us a little bit more next time to be able to find them. And as much as there's a lot of luck involved, being able to listen to the bush. If you listen carefully, the bush often tells you what's about. And I like to sort of describe it as sort of we've got our spies out there. The squirrels, the franklins, the nkudu, the nyala, they will all alarm call at a possible predator. And often your ears help you far more to find an animal than your eyes do. So trying to find a way through here. Tesla is asking, don't they normally scent mark the same tree when marking their border? They do, and especially when it's a sort of a very prominent area used by possibly another leopard. But when they're sort of moving through the bush like this, they might sometimes randomly scent mark different trees, not always the same. But so, for example, on Impala Road, which is pretty much the boundary between her and her daughter Shadow, both of them tend to scent mark the exact same tree every time they're in that area. So Scotty's just moving up ahead of her, and he should be in position shortly. But it's also really great for us. There's that white tip of the tail I was talking about. That is quite often the first thing you spot when you spot a leopard. You can see how camouflaged she is, and you can see how that little white spot just sticks out a little bit more than the rest of her body. Nice camera work, Andrew. Often, if the lion is described as the king, the leopard is the prince of the predators. But now Scotty's in position, so let's go jump on with him and see how his view of Karula is.
Awesome. Welcome back, and we've luckily got into a good spot ahead of her. Isn't this just too good to be true? A wonderful female leopard in the golden morning sunlight and that thrill of finding her after losing her initially. It doesn't get better than this. There's the flabby belly I spoke of earlier, and it's the back half of the belly. And as Brent said, with a older female leopard, it can be difficult to distinguish between pregnancy and whether that's just a sign of her age. So, important that you note that. There's a whole network of aardvark burrows that we've had to avoid now, so that we didn't fall into them. There they are. You can see kind of a lot of loose sand that's been dug up. It'll be interesting to see if she doesn't sniff around any of these aardvark holes, because leopards will feed on aardvark, mainly male leopards though. Okay, let's see if we can reposition. Just come through from Ellen Fowler, and thank you for saying this, because it's a great point. And the reason why Karula was easier to find in the past, and it was 8 years, Ellen says, that she had 4 consecutive generations of cubs, basically 2 years to raise each one roughly before giving birth to the next. And it's a great point. It's obviously much easier to find a female leopard when she's got 2 cubs to look after, because she doesn't travel as far. And obviously there's a lot more sets of tracks to follow, because it's not 1 animal, but 3. So, great point, Ellen, and thank you for highlighting that, because it also means that we aren't useless at finding her. It just simply was easier to find her back in the day. And let's hope that she gives birth again. She certainly should be able to. And I'm hoping that last year the reason why we didn't see any cubs was just bad luck, and she could well have given birth and just been unfortunate and lost those cubs within a very short period, possibly even
Hi,
twice.
Joe. Interesting.
There's long periods of time where we don't see her. Now, Brent's in a better spot, so over to him again.
So this is the joy of having both of us in the sighting, is that we can jump between the vehicles and we can try and make sure we're always in the sort of perfect spot. And a lot of you might hear that click, click, click. That's my camera. And look at this. There's an active aardvark set of burrows that she's actually standing on top of right now. And I can see some fresh aardvark diggings and tracks around those burrows. And you'll often find leopards will always investigate a burrow like that. I was hoping she was actually going to head the other way towards a big termite mound, but she's decided to go behind us, which is her prerogative, of course. So, Nisa in Wisconsin's asking, is that what all the holes are from, aardvark? And a lot of the deep holes and things like that are definitely from aardvark. And the aardvark burrows are utilized by other animals later. See, she's looked down into that burrow. Look at that, see. She's just checking into the burrow in front and smelling what's there. She's now passing less than 3 feet. Good morning, madam. This is a nice, here we go, scent marking tree. Look at her. Rub her head. And now 1, 2, chip, chip. Little spray of urine. Smells like with the movies. Buttered popcorn. So there's a nice big termite mound just up here, and that's why we moved straight towards here instead of staying exactly where she is. Karula is a great fan of moving from termite mound to termite mound. So Scotty's going to try to get into position on the other side of that termite mound. Hopefully she climbs it, and you guys are going to get a fantastic view. There we go. You can see Scotty getting into position. And let's jump across to Scott.
Hello, everyone. And I'm just getting ready to get the VR remote on. Let's hope she walks in front of our vehicle, but I don't think she's going to. Anyway, I'm just going to give a little clap just to sync the GoPro. And here she goes, just scent marking against that marula tree. It's one of their favorite trees to scent mark on. And off she goes behind us. Let's see if we can't move ahead of her again. Now, if we were downwind of that little scent mark, what would be incredible for the new viewers to understand is that her scent mark actually smells like buttered popcorn. Hard to believe, but that's the case. And sometimes when we're driving along, we actually get to smell, oh, sorry there, we actually get to smell that buttered popcorn. She is heading straight in this direction, so there is a strong chance that she will be able to come here. Another little cup to sync the VR remote or the VR cameras, and just to keep everyone in the loop, it's a 360-degree camera that we've been playing around with, and some of you may have seen some footage of her, not her, of the VR rig rather. And it's exciting times with this technology going forward, so bear with us as we test it and try and be ahead of the game with these new toys. So she's just laid down, and I'm going to stay here. Brent's on his way. He might be able to just slip into a slightly better spot. She is kind of at 10 o'clock from where our vehicle is. I'm just going to chat to Brent quickly. Brent, she's lying down kind of at the base of that broken marula. If you want to get into a spot there, and I'll wait here. So Brent's about to drive through the shop there, Wium, and there we go. So, here she comes. So, as Brent got into a half-decent spot, she decided to get up, and she's going to walk straight past the front of his vehicle, or maybe the back. And I'll just need to chat with Ephraim quickly. Copy that, Ephraim. She's just coming out onto the fire break now. Keep coming. And is she going to pop up onto this termite mound? She could well. Look carefully. They often creep up. And here she comes. There she is. There's her head poking out. Absolutely wonderful. Look at this. Great side profile. And just like earlier on, she's been climbing up onto these termite mounds to get a good vantage point. And she's actually seen something. And what she's seen are some zebra up ahead. Now, it's not easy to see. And what I'm going to ask Wium to do is, I know you've got Brent's picture now, maybe Wium can try and pan across to the zebra, which are off to the through some quite thick bush there, but at least you'll get an idea of possibly where they are now. It's too thick for Wium to get a view of them, but there are some zebra up ahead there. Oh, well, there we go. Andrew's got them. So Andrew's got a little turn one there, leopard and zebra. And welcome back to our view. Perfect golden sunlight. And take some screenshots. You may have heard I've been taking a few photographs. This is certainly worth documenting. And if you do take your screenshots, please upload them and tag us in them. We love to see the pictures you guys take. Just going to try and sneak up and get a better spot now, because this opportunity to take some photos of Brent and Andrew is just too good to be true. I've got, I think, Andrew's new profile picture here, and I think Brent's trying to do the same thing here. I need Andrew to do his pose one more time there. And there we go. I've got one or two nice snaps there, I think, of Brent and Andrew, and isn't this just wonderful? two of us enjoying the sighting together. It doesn't happen very often, and she's stopped in the perfect place because she's about 50 meters away from our northern boundary. So the longer she stays here, the longer we can spend with her. And it's as if we're not even here, and that's another beautiful thing about the situation and about a lot of the game viewing we do here, is that we've got very little impact on these animals, and to be allowed insight into their lives without impacting on them is a huge thing. It's what we're about. We don't want to get in their way. And judging from her behavior now, you can see it's as if we are not even here. And a big reason for that is going to be an explanation for a question that Doug has just sent through. Doug would like to know if she would have been followed from being a little cub, her and her mother. And yes, she would have. And I think her mother's name was Safari, quite a well-known leopard who, just like her, is habituated and is relaxed with the vehicles, not concerned by us. And most of the leopards in the Sabi Sands are currently in that same boat. They've been exposed to vehicles from a young age, and it's been about 50 to 60 years of hard work from guides taking their guests out here day in and day out that affords us today with these beautiful, beautiful leopard that are completely habituated to us. I'm going to send you across to Brent's vehicle just to see what the view's like from there.
So we're almost perfectly positioned from a lighting point of view. Scott and Wium have that wonderful morning light falling on her, and we've got this incredible backlight. It sort of illuminates her from behind. There we go. You can see Scotty taking pictures there, and Wium concentrating intently. There we go. Scotty having a wave. There we go. Isn't that awesome, man? So now we're going to tell Scotty he needs to pose for the picture. But it is quite nice to have two very different points of view, and cameramen like to embarrass each other. There's Andrew using super zoom on Wium. Let's come back to the leopard there, Andrew. Thank you. Yes. If you're given a cameraman a chance to put another cameraman on camera, they take it with both hands and as quick as possible. But isn't this incredible? And it's so nice that we're able to actually both spend time with her quite often. Only one of us will have the opportunity. Look at that, she's going to walk. Oh, isn't that awesome? I hope you guys are getting some screenshots of Scotty D, Safari, and Karula. She's going right next to Scott. And unfortunately, she is heading towards. And we're going to jump across to Scott's vehicle.
Welcome back, everyone, and we're just going to roll back casually into a better spot, and it looks like she's heading straight to that marula tree for another scent mark. And interesting how that is their favorite tree to scent mark on. I guess it's probably because it's one of the most prominent large trees in this area. And there she goes, just about to do it. Chip, chip. And Wium was just having some troubles with the camera or the cables, all the various cables that plug into the camera. They got caught on the tripod there, and it was preventing him from swiveling around. So some of you may be wondering why there was a little bit of a delay on his camera work, but we're going to probably send you across to Brent now, who's managed to loop ahead, and you should get some great views from him.
So we're just trying to jump up ahead of her. Andrew's got her. She unfortunately is heading towards our northern traverse boundary, but she looks like she spotted something inside the juba, which is always better in our opinion. She's looking directly east at the moment. I wonder what she might have spotted. I'm looking back there, I can't see anything, but there are often lots of impala and duiker and steenbok in this area. Oh, that's good news for us. It looks like she's changed her direction and is heading east parallel to our northern boundary. So Eric in Virginia Beach is wondering about the collective nouns of leopards, and he's wondering which one is used in ambush, a prowl, or a leap. Well, I can tell you for a fact, as a great fan of the collective noun, that the correct term is a leap. And Eric's wondering, even though they are mostly solitary, have I ever seen a leap of leopards? I have. It was actually a fantastic and really interesting sighting. In the Sabi Sands, I've seen 7 leopards in one sighting, and I will explain that a little bit more in detail later, but let's just enjoy the leopard that's right next to us for now. There she is, checking Andrew out from the back. I think Scotty she's going to pop out right in front of Scott's vehicle shortly. There she goes, and where Scotty is, and you just see the front of his vehicle off to the left there, that is the end of our traverse, but you never know what happens. She might change her mind, and hopefully she does. So we're going to cross to Scotty, who's got the best visual of it at the moment.
No, it looks like she may have heard something or seen something. She's twitching her ears and looking very, very focused. Even that little tail of hers is telling a wonderful story, slowly flickering from side to side. And who knows what it could be in there. It's incredibly thick bush to our left.
Negative, but she's going to cross in the next 5 minutes, or maybe even shorter.
And hopefully this will delay her a little bit. Ephraim from Cheetah Plains is making his way here. And let's hope that he manages. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Awesome. We don't get to see them stalking very often. This is incredible to see. I wonder what she's noticed in there. And this light is absolutely spectacular. Perfectly backlit. What have you seen here, Karula? What is up ahead? Look at this, the leopard crawl, as she flattens herself to the road. Too good to be true. What could it be? And I'm just going to keep the vehicle dead still now. We don't want to have any impact on what's going on here, but there certainly is some potential prey up ahead. Oh, there's a herd of impala. And they are slowly moving from her left to her right. So moving east, and this is great. This is going to be wonderful to watch. Anything's possible. The impala could head further south towards us, and if they do, she's going to try and get ahead of them into a position where she can simply lie in wait for them to approach. So I'm guessing what she's going to do is she's going to start actually moving to her right. Look at her tail twitching from side to side there in excitement. And like I said, because they're moving from left to right, she's probably going to do the same thing and try and forecast their movements and lie in wait in front of them. It's far easier for leopards to lie and wait for their prey than obviously creep up on them, because their movements and the sounds of their movements won't be detected. Oh, she's hissing at something. What could it be? She could just be hissing in frustration that they're heading the wrong way. Or possibly at a bird. I think I've just seen a fork-tailed drongo come and land next to her, and it could start alarm calling. And give away her presence, so maybe that's why she let off that little snarl. And another hiss. It's a pity we can't see a frontal view, but like we've said, this is our northern boundary that she has just crossed over. Thankfully, the animals don't have any boundaries. And you can probably now see from Andrew's camera, there's a little bit of movement of the impala. Not easy to see, but exciting prospects. And we don't see action very often with regards to kills, and the only kill that I've seen in the whole year of being here was actually made by this very leopard just about this time last year. Now what I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to reverse a bit, and the reason why I'd like to reverse is I want to leave a very open pathway for these impala to approach it. If our vehicle's here, they're going to take a naturally wider path and possibly avoid walking into her. We don't want to have any impact on this situation, and by keeping a wider berth, it may increase our chances of having some luck. We're going to send you across to Brent's vehicle now.
So we're not going to move, and the reason we're not moving at all, it's because we're directly behind her. So we don't want to interfere at all, so any movement might cause the impala to look towards us. So that's why as soon as we spotted the impala, we switched off the vehicle, and we're not going to move from this position unless the impala spot her or she moves in a different direction. But isn't this incredibly exciting? And a leopard's an incredibly patient animal. So the majority of that impala has actually moved past her from what I can see. She'll be watching, perusing, seeing if there's maybe a little injury or a little weakness, or maybe waiting for the babies. And I've actually seen leopards wait a full day on a termite mound in the area where an impala herd is, waiting for them to come closer to her. Look how she's gone flat to the ground.
Everyone, she's just north of this little market right between us, and she's just lying flat on the ground. I just want to leave a big gap for these.
So let's have a look. Like she's cleaning herself. So now while we're watching Karula in hunt mode, Curtis from Virginia is wondering what is the biggest prey a leopard can take down. Now, Curtis, one must remember there's no hard and fixed set rules with this type of stuff. Generally, leopards are like your small to medium-sized antelope. So that's sort of from your steenbok and duiker up to impala. Although here, we have had those male leopards that quite regularly kill adult female kudu, which under normal sort of circumstances is considered too big for a leopard, but they do it. And I've even seen a male leopard, a big male leopard, take a baby buffalo out of a herd. I would say probably kudu, baby buffalo, even a baby zebra, up to a sub-adult wildebeest are sort of the biggest prey a leopard will go for. But females and Karula, who we see quite a bit of, tends to prefer your smaller game, your steenbok, duikers, baby impala. Oh, look at that, her ears are up. This is a big herd of impala. They're still constantly moving through. And if we go off to the... Oh, we can't really see them now. So there's a big problem, Andrew. If you come up to the right, see where the elephant dung is? And zoom into that gap there. So zoom into that gap. To the right slightly. I know there's the impala, and come down to the ground. So if we look carefully there's Franklin between her and the impala. You got the Franklin there. Sorry, just come out a bit, Andrew. So a little bit to the left. You got the Franklin. Left, come out, left. Into the next gap. There they are. So that's probably why she hasn't moved closer. I'm pretty sure she's seen those crested francolin. And if she had to move, they might give away a position. So for her, now it's better to keep still and wait for those francolin to maybe move past her. And she might lie completely flat and try not to disturb those francolin, because if those francolin alarm call, and that's how we found her this morning, it might alert the impala to her presence, because they will definitely take note of a stressed francolin call. It pays to be vigilant out here in the bush when there's creatures like Karula trying to eat you. Nemo on YouTube would like to know where specifically she is on Juma. Well, if we want to be technical, Nemo, she's actually in Buffalo's Hook at the moment, so she's crossed that road that you see between her and us is our northern traverse boundary, and she is in the western section of our northern boundary between Galago Shortcut and Mvubu Road. I can hear that contact call between female impala and their babies, that burp, 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 burp. And there's impala still walking past her, but those francolin are just in the most inconvenient position for her. Otherwise, this would be a really, really good spot. She's got this acacia thicket around her, so she would be able to stalk quite close if the francolin weren't there.
Yes, it looks like she might start moving shortly. Hopefully she'll come towards you and those mala.
So the francolin are directly between her and the impala at the moment. The francolin haven't spotted her, they've come out. So, you see them, Andrew? You go where the mitre drain is.
I just don't want to miss if she does something.
Yeah. Right. I don't think she's going to do something. She's going to come north towards, northwest towards Scott. She's trying to avoid the francolin. So there she goes. She's avoiding those francolin and moving further to the north.
Okay, yeah, make your way out.
Yeah, and she's going to head off across the boundary. What a fantastic sighting it is, and it's so sad to see her go across. But we're going to cross to Scotty, who found her first this morning, and leave him for the last few visuals we get. And Andrew and I are going to head off to the east and to see what else we can find.
Well, what a wonderful morning. Of course, it's going to be sad, like Brent says, to wave her goodbye. But again, well done to him for picking the perfect spot to wait for her to pop out after we lost her for quite some time. And look at how careful she is. She doesn't want to be too brazen now and give away her position, even though she's not kind of focusing on those impala. I wonder why she doesn't want to, like I say, give away her position, let everyone shout and cause everything far and wide to know that she's here, and she's just laid down in the perfect spot to do some grooming. I'm just going to get a hold of Ephraim quickly just to tell him exactly where she is, because he's been sitting patiently with his guests without having a visual of her. If you keep coming and then just pull in front of my vehicle and park here, you can get a good spot. And I've just told him to go straight in front of us, so he is going to obscure our view for a while. But he's too kind. Ephraim, you're too kind. You should have gone straight in front. Yeah, just go. Okay? Yeah, it's fine. Definitely. And once he's got into a good spot, then we should still be able to see her, or we will reposition, because like I say, he's been waiting very patiently to get his guests a good view. Tom asks a good question, and would like to know if she's been moving north into the wind. Some people believe quite strongly that when big cats are on the move, they will always move into the wind because that increases their likelihood of not being detected by their prey and therefore having better success hunting. To be honest, Tom, I haven't really noticed that in my big cat viewing, and they simply go in whichever direction they please and don't really take the wind into account. This morning there's hardly a breeze, and I wish I had my ash bag with me to show you which way the wind was blowing, but it's blowing very, very gently towards us from kind of into our faces, so in a westerly direction. But it's ever so gently. And maybe what I'll ask Wium to do is there's some little blades of grass here, Wium, just in the foreground, that are very, very gently kind of dancing towards us. And if you just try and pick one of them, there we go. If you look at that one there, you can see that it's slowly kind of getting blown in our direction, so the wind is not in her favor. And more often than not, like I say, I don't think the big cats are as clever as people give them credit for. And if I'd have been Karula now, I would have looped back onto this road and run straight down it. It's slightly sunken in, so it would have been a good position for her to be able to lie in wait for those impala, yet she hasn't done that. So they, yes, are incredibly agile, yes, they've got incredible speed and agility, but they are not as clever as we make them out to be. But of course, that's not to take anything away from them. It's difficult business catching impala, and Abel's just made his way into the sighting. It was also great that a few other vehicles and people are enjoying the sighting with us this morning. Morning, everyone. Morning. And I've just been mentioning that they are incredibly agile and speedy and stealthy, and Sandman would like to know exactly how fast are they, and they've got a short burst of speed and they can move, I'm told, 28 meters in 1 second. So frighteningly speedy over a short distance. Leopard will very seldomly chase their prey any further than that distance, and a 30-meter sprint will be just about as long as they get for the leopard. So it's a burst of speed. Unlike cheetah, who can sustain their speed for a little bit longer. So, and that's important to understand, Sandman, is that for a leopard to be able to catch its prey, it needs to be about 4 or 5 meters away before it explodes. Obviously, depending on the type of prey, that may vary slightly, and slower prey it won't need to be as close to. But the prey have evolved over many, many years to avoid being eaten by these animals, and that's why their strike rate is only about 10 to 20% of attempted hunts will result in a kill. Rizzo, I appreciate your humor, and Paul just mentioned that he never leaves home without his ash bag, and that would be funny walking down the streets of whatever town you're living in, Paul, ashing your bag, testing the wind direction, almost worth doing to see what reaction you get. And for those of you who do not know what an ash bag is, it's a sock filled with campfire ash, which is obviously a very, very fine powder, and each time you bubble that sock, a cloud of ash puffs out, and depending on the wind direction, you get a very accurate indication of where it's blowing, and it can be incredibly useful when on foot. So that's when you'll get to see the ash bag while I'm on the bushwalk. And following big animals like elephants, whose eyes aren't very good, As long as you keep the wind in your favor, you can stay quite close to them without being detected. Abel, can you guys see okay?
Yes, sir.
Good. Hello to Hannah, who would like to know how many leopards do we see here on Juma. And we at the moment see this individual and her daughter, and this individual Karula is mainly on Juma. Her daughter Shadow, who's 9 years old, is mainly on Arathusa, and they basically occupy those two territories, or properties rather. So those are the two females that we see on a more regular basis. Occasionally we'll see other females from properties where we cannot traverse that come onto Karula's or Shadow's territory in order for mating, to link in with either Tingana or Mvula, who are the two dominant male leopards that we see. Quite fortunate that we have an overlap of two different males, because usually how it works, Hannah, is that one male will have about 4 or 5 females within his very large territory. But because we are on a boundary of two males, that means we could see two different ones, whereas if we were in the center of any one of their property, then we would naturally only be able to see one. So those are the kind of 4 leopards that we see. It's always changing, Hannah, and we used to see Shadow quite a lot. Now we don't see her as much. We used to see Mvula more. He used to be most dominant here on Juma. Now he's been chased further east by Tingana, who we're seeing more and more on Juma now. So things are forever changing, and hopefully another change will be some new additions to the leopards of our area. Both Shadow and Karula are due to provide us with some cubs, and who knows, it could both happen simultaneously, and that would be the jackpot. Now, what I'm going to suggest is we've had such great views of this leopard, and I just want to slightly move out of the sighting so we can let Ephraim and Abel both get their guests into good spots and get a little bit closer. And the great thing is that Brent's found some other animals that are not really around that much at the moment, or this specific dynamic, so enjoy what he's found.
So we've come across what looks to be quite a big breeding herd of buffalo, slowly mobile into Juma, and that's quite exciting because we all know what follows breeding herds of buffalo. So who can guess? What I'm hoping is not too far behind these critters, and I'm hoping the reason they've moved this area is because they're being chased by said animal that we're hoping will follow them, and said animal we haven't seen for a while. And if you know what I'm talking about, you can pop your answers through to questions@wildearth.tv or use the hashtag SafariLIVE on Twitter. So they've probably only got moving in the last sort of half an hour, and they've bedded down for the night, chewing the cud. They probably bedded down very close to here. They don't look like they have really woken up yet, haven't had their coffee. There's one scratching its head there, Andrew, on the marula tree. Can you get it, or do I need to move backwards a little bit forward? I think I need to move forward a little bit. She's stopped now, of course. But I was having a good scratching against that tree. So I'm just going to call it in on the radio, let everyone else know what we've got here. Stations large Hlambe Nyari, Buffelshoek cut line between Buffelshoek east and west. They seem to be slowly mobile southwest.
So I think these may be the last visuals of Karula. Although maybe we'll get lucky. It appears like she may have heard something in there. And let's see. Yeah, she's definitely stalking something there. Look how she's flattening herself to the ground. Difficult to know what it is. Maybe it's a straggler from that herd of impalas, or maybe it's something else. Some francolins or small birds. Even though her... Oh, she's just low down again there, just out of our view. And they can be strange animals when they hunt leopard. I've seen leopard very close to potential prey fall asleep. They completely lose track of what they're doing. And this may be the case with her this morning. Wonderful that we can just see a little tail twitching from side to side there. But I think we're going to leave Abel and Ephraim to